Let's talk about the censorship issue.
Age.
And because of the lockdown, the mass social engineering. I have this story from theblaze.com. Now, I emphasize The Blaze. This is Glenn Beck, conservative. Host of progressive media accounts claim they've been arbitrarily demonetized by YouTube. Widespread crackdown, ? For the longest time, it was conservatives who were getting nuked predominantly. And now it seems to be swallowing up many progressives. They're not going after the establishment elite types, though. They're going after those who criticize Joe Biden. The Blaze says, several independent progressive media personalities spoke out recently claiming their YouTube accounts were arbitrarily censored by the video platform for publishing or covering content deemed harmful. Independent journalist Caitlin Johnstone first reported on the news, further advancing speculation that the Google-owned video company is engaging in a widespread content crackdown. Johnstone wrote in a blog post Wednesday that progressive commentators Graham Elwood, The Progressive Soapbox, The Convo Couch, Frank Analysis, Hannah Reloaded, and CyberDeviant531 have all received notifications from YouTube that their videos are no longer permitted to earn money through the platform's various monetization features, as has Ford Fisher, a respected freelancer who films U.S. political demonstrations. What we're seeing right now, again, whether intentional or not, we can't go to the bar. We can't go to restaurants and talk to other people on the ground. All we can do is go on Twitter and see the radicalization. You can see them scream in your face over and over again, insurrection, insurrection, insurrection. I know people in Chicago who have no business in politics. People who spend their lives just like working behind a bar at a bar and don't care for politics and they love football. All of a sudden now the only thing they talk about is why Trump was bad and why we need all of this far left policy because the only social interactions they're actually having are online. Now, I will take this moment to stress, you didn't think they were going to come for progressives. Yeah. A lot of people thought it was only going to be conservatives. The reality is most of us who are advocating for free speech, including many conservatives, said they will come for you. They don't like you. So go to timcast.com, become a member and provide us that shield because they will ban us. My Facebook was shut down.
I was just on the Convo Couch, one of the ones they listed, who are great guys, super leftist. They were working with me. They were talking about, they loved what we did down on Reoccupy. They were actually trying to work towards a solution. They weren't controlled opposition like AOC. But you go back to history. I mean, the second the communists take over, the first people they kill are the intellectuals, the academics, all the true believers. They don't need them anymore.
Who fomented the revolution in the first place and who are a threat to their power.
Exactly. The Trotskys, whoever.
And I remember getting demonetized a few years ago and a lot of people, kind of celebrating it. I'm like, this is going to hit you. Yeah. And I've been saying this for years. We were even talking about this exact point just a few weeks ago, saying that a lot of the leftists are going to get hit soon, especially with the establishment coming in. It's happening now.
No longer needing them.
And I even tweeted today, I feel sorry this happened, and I think they shouldn't be censored, even though I don't believe what they believe in. It doesn't matter. The principle still stands. The ideas should be fought through better ideas. And sadly, that's not happening. And it's devastating. When you get demonetized, I know a lot of companies, independent media, that haven't come back from it, that can't operate anymore, don't operate anymore, and many times they are a lot better than the trash, than the division, than the agenda that they're pushing on the mainstream media, and we're going to have less and less of that.
I got real mad today because we're getting news about these stimulus checks. They're now going to means test them. So Joe Biden, the Democrats told everybody, vote the Democrats, get them in, and you're going to get $2,000. Then they said, well, we actually mean $1,400. It's a supplement to the $600 you already got. And then I rolled my eyes and I was like, okay, fine, I get it. Many progressives are outraged. Now they're saying, well, I mean, we didn't mean everyone. We just meant $1,400 checks to those who make less than $50K a year. It keeps changing. Now that's important for people. It's going to affect your life. What was CNN talking about all day? Marjorie Taylor Greene. What's the top headline story for everybody? What's all they're talking about is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care. No disrespect to her. I know the left wants to bring it. I don't know a whole lot about her. I think she said dumb things, but she's a freshman congresswoman. Right. She is not of that much political consequence for them to just try and hammer in. But you know what it is? It is what I was saying, how they isolate us. Then they hammer in these ideas. Which tribe are you in? They say, she's bad, right? You must denounce her, right? And the Republicans go right along with it. And they voted. 11 Republicans voted to strip her of her committees. This is what we're getting. Instead of being told about why we're being shut down, why we're being strangled out, why our businesses are destroyed, they're saying, look at the nasty, mean person on the internet. I don't care.
They've perfected social engineering. I mean, it's like, bread and circuses, like you said, the social isolation. I mean, it's coming down to a science in terms of how they're controlling people. And I'm meeting people in my day-to-day life that are just completely hysterical over COVID fears. They're just dehumanizing everyone around them.
Not controlling people, but making them mentally ill.
Mentally ill. You're right. It's a mental illness. You're absolutely right.
I think a lot of these representatives that are supposed to be representing us suffer from narcissistic personality disorder. I mean, everything is me, me, me. Look at what I did. Look at this. And
AOC is a textbook definition.
And they keep forgetting they're supposed to be representing the people who are actually struggling out there, and they're not doing that.
Right, exactly.
Well, I can only imagine it's going to get worse. If they're coming for progressives, that means the path which we can walk on online, on YouTube, on Twitter, is getting ever narrower.
Yeah, but water flows whether there's a path for it or not. So if they try and stifle this path, another one will be formed. We talk about it almost daily.
That's why I built, that's why we are all building Timcast.com and encouraging people to join, because something I should have done a long time ago. I mean, I had the website, but it was just some like generic website that like rehosted videos. Now we're doing exclusive content and trying to actually build something out. Probably was dumb of us not to do it a long time ago, to realize that we can't rely on other people's platforms when they're massive, monopolistic, and they have insane views, and they ban people for insane reasons, and of course they're going to ban us at some point.
And that's why you can't give up, because if everything was working, they wouldn't need the propaganda, they wouldn't need the gaslighting, they wouldn't need all this massive disinformation. They're obviously worried. That's why they keep moving the new horizons. I'm sure they're going to come after your website now to get you delisted with either the domains or the servers or whatever it is. So the goalposts are moving in a good way, but it's also we're in a constant chase, essentially.
One of these individuals who got demonetized has a really excellent video that says Tim Pool just about creams his pants over Capitol. What does it say? Capitol building riot. Oh, okay. I'm sure. This looks like it's a really old video too. That has nothing to do with. Wow, it looks like she faked it. Because there's a video of me in Philadelphia, and we haven't been there in a very long time. In fact, it's the old set from 2018. Oh, funny. So I'm wondering what that has to do with anything having to do with the riot. And she's showing clips. Maybe that's why she got banned. Maybe the reality is some of these people just make fake content, I guess.
Huh. There are some bad apples, and they deserve to be called out 100%. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen that do things that are not genuine, that are not good. But when you compare the harm to mainstream media, it's absolutely nothing. Yeah. And if we're going to scrutinize independent media, let's scrutinize all media, including the mainstream media. At least make it fair. At least make it a free market where the same rules apply to everyone. They don't. There's different rules applying to this channel, my channel, and all the other independent media channels out there. And mainstream media doesn't need to play by any of them. They could show whatever they want. There's CNN individuals eating brains. Human brains on national television. Yep. That's okay. They're showing
Reza
riots.
Aslan, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think they blew
Maybe
up?
That's why
they blew
he
up QAnon
with a little wacky there.
They blew up QAnon. They made it to be
nuts.
this massive issue that it really wasn't, and they used it as their casus belli to declare war on independent media outlets, independent journalists, because anyone who could be promoting anything outside the orthodoxy, outside the establishment's narrative, must be promoting dangerous conspiracy theories or anything that's wrong-think.
So this guy Reza Aslan outrages Hindus by eating human brains in CNN documentary. He really did this.
He went to India.
And CNN airs this on TV. This guy is still a verified user on these platforms. He was posting extremely messed up things with the Covington kids. Yeah. This guy routinely posts inflammatory and damn near incitement. Like when, let's just put it that way. I think there's been a few instances where people were shocked that Twitter didn't ban him or take his stuff down.
Yeah, he's been accused many times of threatening violence against individuals because of their political ideas.
I do think that I mean this sincerely. I think eating the brain broke his psyche. But I don't mean like he ate the brain and it poisoned him. I mean, you can't come back from that.
But his T levels are through the roof now.
No, listen. He did something on TV. It's almost like he was sitting there and the camera was on and they were like, "Do it, eat the brain. Come on, you want to be a big show,
he
right?"
Probably had a CNN producer being like, "Well, you want the show? You want to do good? You want ratings?"
I wouldn't be surprised if he has PTSD and he broke down and cried afterwards because they pushed him beyond what a regular human can do.
I think the cannibal grabbed him or like threw him down and started yelling.
No,
he didn't. I remember he was trying to get up.
No. The cannibal was acting wild and I think did aggress at him in some way, but he chose to eat the brain voluntarily.
Got it.
And it was a small piece of charred brain that he eats. And I don't think eating the brain gave him what is it called? Encephalopathy? Doesn't give you the shakes? Yeah. I don't think it like poisoned him. I think it mentally broke him. and now he's basically like lost it from eating brain.
It was the trauma. It wasn't so much what he ate. Yeah.
Yeah, because like imagine you're in the situation where you're powerless. You have a company, you have a contract that say, do it, you have to, it's your contract, eat the brain. And then you're like, I guess I have to, and then you do it. You can never come back from that. For the rest of his life, the dude's a cannibal.
He could have taken down CNN, just been like, these guys wanted me to become a cannibal on air, and like, that would have been the end of them. But
he's a cannibal.
But money.
Yeah. He is
But
a
money.
cannibal.
Yeah.
But money.
And I know we're kind of derailing, but he's become this really vile individual on the internet. And we talked about the mind virus, how people are just really nasty and demoralized. And what he's doing is absolutely a very large component of the nastiness. And I have to wonder if what we saw from him eating brain is a really good example of how a lot of people feel, but on lower levels. They feel they're forced to say these things. They have no choice. How many people genuinely agree? There was a woman who posted, she was voting for all white people to be put on a barge and kicked out to sea. And a white guy responded with like, oh man, I would volunteer for that. And it's like, does he really agree with that? Or does he cry himself to bed at night while he literally advocates for himself being exiled on a boat
It's
for
like
his
mass
race?
Stockholm
Yeah.
syndrome. Like, it's
Right.
just like,
Look at the self-hate. Look at the disparaging, this nasty self-harm that's being glorified on the media.
It's a
on
virtue
the
to be a victim,
algorithms,
yeah.
on social media. This is somehow a good thing.
Right.
It's not. You should be confident. You should respect yourself, because only when you respect yourself, you could only then truly respect others. And until you start having, confidence and love and compassion for yourself, how can you have it for anyone else?
well, they've tied social status to either being a victim or either just being, self-hating for the most part. And that's, you rise through the ranks of society if you've had so many different traumatic experiences that you can, like AOC basically using her sexual assault when questioned on policy issues. I mean, that's what's happening in society. There's no virtue anymore, and there's no social status assigned to being an independent, healthy, free-thinking adult. It's assigned
Follower
to being
count.
a child.
Exactly.
Or a follower. It's assigned to being a child.
It's a score. It's your follower count. It's your likes. It's your retweets. It's your ratings.
Yeah.
So this guy,
Your
Reza,
social credit.
This guy, and now it's visible.
Yeah.
So this guy, Reza, my opinion on this brain eating thing was that Vice was really big. And they were like, you want to beat Vice, right? You want to be big. Because I'll tell you this, when I left Vice, I probably had 1,000 people say, what can we do to get that, that kind of zeal, that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of coolness, that edge.
Edginess, yeah.
So along comes this dude, and he ate human brain. I feel like that is the apex of desperation for social acceptance. He wanted to be cool and edgy like Vice. He wanted to fit in and have a big show with tons of ratings and be famous. So he literally ate human brain. He could never come back for that. It broke him. And now the reason I hammer that point is, think about the smaller instances where people do this stuff. The false accusations, the defense of people, the people who pile on, say, attacking Brett Kavanaugh. When, come on, what sane people thought those allegations about him lining up outside of a dormitory,
Gang rapes.
gang raping women? That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. But these people have no force of will. So what happens is, people like us, probably everybody in this room, if someone said eat a brain, we'd be like, no. And they'd be like, well, everyone will make fun of you if you don't. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not eating brain. But then you have the other portion of society where they're like, is it the only way to fit in? Okay, I'll do it.
Firsthand, I worked in Los Angeles and Hollywood in the entertainment industry for like 10 years. And I would do these commercials, and I'd go and read, and they'd be like, okay, just say, I don't care what's in it. It tastes great. And it was everything I didn't believe. And I would do it for the money. And I started to become such a nasty person. It was because I hated myself for that stupid stuff I would say that I didn't believe. And I could totally see these people doing it not only with their actions but with their words, which are a type of action.
Well, when you hate yourself, you're a good consumer, because you always need to fill that empty void inside of yourself with empty
man.
Chinese-made trinkets made by slaves.
Bought on
usually
credit.
leaders. Exactly.
Wouldn't then it be not a bad thing to get all of these mass consumer lunatics to stop buying stuff? Like the people who fulfill themselves by eating brain to prove their worth or buying things they don't need. Shouldn't we be encouraging people to roll up their sleeves and go chop some wood? Go outside. Go outside. Stop, filling up your gas tank. Stop buying butane. Literally just take some wood, cut it up into bits, do the hard work, and enjoy the fire with your friends outside.
This goes full circle to what we were talking about earlier. There's no transcendence in society. No one's living for a higher purpose than themselves. It's like this hyper-individualistic, hedonistic, pleasure, self-serving that just corrupts all of society. Because really the basis of society is not really the individual. It should really be the family unit, or some kind of group structure. But that's why they're trying to atomize everyone. Live in your pod, eat your bugs, that whole kind of shtick. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's mentally deranged, self-absorbed lunatics, and to me, that's the definition of a congressman. I'm serious. Because when you look at their kind of activities, you look at what they're doing.
Congresswoman.
That's right.
Whatever, potato. When you look at what they're doing the most insidious, ridiculous things to get the most amount of eyeballs, the most amount of attention. That generates money, that generates clicks, that generates you being in a position of power. They are extremely privileged. They are extremely empowered. And for these people to be on national television playing like they're the victims, that they're traumatized, I mean, give me a break.
I think it's even more so for celebrities, which are like neo-aristocrats, and so many people look to them more than they do, the congresswoman like AOC, who is a celebrity in her own right, but they're the ones who take all these different impulses in society that we're talking about and put them on steroids, and they're just even heightened. I mean, that's why you see the most ridiculous cases in like Page 6 or whatever it is, because it's just a never-ending cycle to outdo the previous more insane instance of whatever it is.
In order to earn points, you got to one up the next guy.
And it's kind of like
you got to eat human brain, I guess.
Because of desperation, I think people like your average person are seeking like attention so that they can get some money to survive, or some resources, or some attention's kind of a resource too.
I think it's because we removed religion. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Ian, continue.
So politicians are trying to placate that desperation with these social programs, and it's not working. But then it's this conversation I feel like is becoming circular, because it's like throughout human history we've always been desperate to survive. We're not owed a living. We have to go out and take it, and we've always been competing to survive against wild animals or against other humans.
Maybe I'll say this: we broke ourselves away from that, where now we as Americans, especially Europeans, but all over the world, people who live in luxury, don't have to fight to survive. You wake up, there's food everywhere, an insane amount.
First world problems.
Yeah, yep. First world problems are all we really have. Shouldn't people get back? There's a threshold we met where we can survive now. Right. Can't people just be happy sitting under the stars with their friends and their family, smiling and climbing trees?
We made it. Animals don't kill us randomly now.
But what I mean is, like, I think most of us here really enjoy the outdoors, starting a fire. Ian loves working out ways to start fires on his own.
Yeah, but when I was really poor, I was hard to love anything. I was obsessed with where am I going to get am I going to be able to pay rent? Am I going to be out on the street next month? Can I afford? Why do I have to eat this junk? Because I can't afford better food. And it was terrible.
I think the better food thing's a myth, actually, because I was poor and I ate decently well.
There's always going to be
I was probably not eating enough.
I eat really good now. We buy the best and such a huge variety of oils and vinegars and
lots of vinegar
and meats
had to
and
say
cheeses
vinegar.
and like vegetables and all of anything we want we have access to.
I'll be honest,
because of that I can enjoy the little things.
I don't think we eat the best. I mean, we literally have like bacon and bread. You know what I mean? It's not like we're having filet mignon every night or something.
I feel very privileged. I feel
Luke wants me to order those Peter Luger
steaks.
Yes.
Waiting.
because of our position.
Just have eggs and bacon for breakfast.
Honestly, I've made sure that we have access to all the nutrients we need. And it's
sure. I definitely can understand.
I am
that.
one of those people that enjoys the little things. Like I can sit in a room and with a book and just be happy for days.
That's what I mean. I mean, you've got a lot of people who live in cities who are desperate to fit in with their tribe to earn those social media points. So I'm not saying, like, obviously, we have a successful business and we're privileged in that regard. But even, when I was broke and living on couches, my fulfillment didn't come from owning stuff. It came from experiences with my friends, going and skateboarding, getting that new trick, and just going on adventures to new places, even if it was just walking down the tracks to see where the tracks went. So many people now are tied to fulfillment from getting other people to say they like them, to prove it, or to own something to prove they've got something.
Like their car, because if they lose their car, life gets harder, and they don't want to lose their car.
I mean, when I started my news organization, I literally was, not having any money, couch surfing everywhere. I had to sleep on the floor sometimes, and it was amazing. I had the best time of my life traveling all over the world, all over the United States, hitching rides, hitchhiking, literally hitchhiking, through so many places, and it was incredible.
I want to tell people your secret to success.
Uh-oh.
Dude, dude literally just got on a speedboat, went to Epstein Island.
Yeah.
Anyone could have done it.
Yeah. There's a couple journalists that like literally went around it, but like we had this amazing captain that just surprised us.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to clarify. Luke went to Epstein Island to document the island.
Yes.
After.
Please, no misconceptions
That
here.
right around
I
there,
wasn't
yeah.
an invitee.
Yeah.
I wasn't invited. I came there to expose
But
the
think
story.
about
Yep.
where's the sense of adventure where people are satisfied by just exploring the woods, going for a walk, and looking at flowers.
But that's why there's so
saying
much nostalgia in society, because all the things you remember when you were kids, exploring the woods, all that sense of adventure and unknown, it doesn't exist in the modern world as an adult anymore for the most part. So there's so much nostalgia in society. I mean, you see it everywhere.
It does, though.
Yeah.
It literally does.
What do you mean?
You could look, man. I'll tell you. You live in New York.
Yeah.
Is there a borough you've never been to?
Is there a what?
A borough you've never been to?
No.
You've been to all the boroughs.
Yeah.
Have you walked every block of Staten Island?
I have not, no.
You could literally go for a walk through Staten Island, and I chose that on purpose because
And
I
if you
don't
did it
think
on
you.
Yeah, I don't think I would schlep
Because
there,
nobody
And you
goes
watch
Staten
I do
Island.
know someone who went every block in Manhattan, and they documented it. It was a very cool thing.
But it's
they did.
rare.
It's very rare. No, it is.
I know people who. I'll be honest. Most of the people I knew in Brooklyn had never been to the Bronx. No joke.
Yeah.
No joke. Or Staten Island.
Yeah, I believe it.
Definitely went to Staten Island. I went and walked around on the beach.
But it's like the way, I think it's like the mindset, because you can enjoy the shape of a tree, like the tree branch, and like, whoa.
and the light
really
breaking
get
through
into
it, or look at the clouds.
Or you can be stressed about what's coming up in 2 hours, that you got to be at that thing. So like, F this tree.
But it's like,
It's kind of like we have so much information in society. You have Wikipedia at your fingertips. You can get everything, but there's no interest in finding that knowledge. It's the same thing. You could travel anywhere tomorrow, at least not during COVID.
there's no self-fulfillment.
There's no drive to do it, though.
Like, I'm fulfilled independently. Like, when I go skate, I'm skating here for the most part by myself. Sometimes me and Adam will be skating, but typically I'll go skate, the mini ramp, and I'll decide what tricks I want to do for me by myself, and I'm fulfilled by doing it.
But
I don't look to satisfaction from any other person.
It's like that book Bowling Alone, with basically the fall of like American kind of the town and the community and a lot of the stuff we're talking about. It's the guy bowling alone, because it's just like we've lost kind of bonds with, obviously it goes beyond just what people think of you, but there are bonds being broken with other people, which also gives you value. It's not just always what other people think of you, but there is a benefit to having a social network that's healthy and productive.
I think we might be too pessimistic, because I think human beings naturally have this drive to explore and to learn, but a lot of it is just being squashed out by the school system, by government, the mainstream media, and now social media that wants to extinguish this kind of drive within human beings.
Don't people have less free time now than they did like 50, 60 years ago? I remember reading a study somewhere.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't know if it's true. I just remember.
But it's probably true in some context. But I'll tell you, the saying goes that a poor person today has better dental care than Rockefeller did at the height of his oil baronship, or whatever you want to call it.
I so badly wanted to have kids in my 20s and travel around the world with my wife, and I didn't have the money, so I didn't.
But no one could do that. You know what I mean?
Some people could.
Some people could, but it doesn't mean you're entitled to or should expect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I didn't have kids because I couldn't afford it.
When could anyone ever afford kids? That's a myth.
You can afford kids.
It's a myth.
They're not that. They're like $50,000 a year.
But what about the people who literally lived in the wilderness and had kids? It's a myth that you can't afford to have kids.
They died at the age of 20.
Most people have kids don't
died in
plan them.
childbirth 'cause they didn't
I
have access to
don't
medical
think
care.
they would call them accidents.
I was
but
not planned.
They're it's not like they said, okay, let's have a kid in 9 months, so let's get to it. No, like people would hook up and they'd have kids, and then they would fight to survive for their kids.
I didn't want to fight to survive. I wanted to share a bountiful life with my children.
Casey Neistat, one of the most successful individuals in the new internet age, had a kid, I think, when he was 16. And he was living in a trailer. I think he was homeless at one point. And then he went on to become one of the greatest, internet entrepreneurs of this generation. And it's legit. He revolutionized YouTube vlogging. And he had a kid well before he was prepared or capable. And he was poor as heck, but he made it work. I think this idea that you have to be rich enough to do it, I don't necessarily agree. I think the problem is, are you fulfilled internally or externally? And there's too many people in this world, in this country, who are looking for satisfaction from they're looking for, they're looking to other people to validate their existence instead of validating it on their own. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., so come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.